Hello there. Good morning. Get this out of the way. Top of the morning to you folks, kids. Welcome to Saturday Morning Cartoons. I'm Paul Pate, your host. Got my cup of Joe, ready to go. So let's see. Normally I have like a hat on and my drawing tablet set up, and I draw cartoons. I've been working basically since I've been doing this stream Saturday morning. I work on my Detective Perez graphic novel. Been doing it. This is episode 25 now. Weird. Anyway, I thought I'd do it a little bit different this morning because I actually wasn't gonna do it this morning at all, but I thought I would. So here I am. Anyway, where to begin? So normally I draw the cartoons and stuff, and we just chit chat about whatever. But this morning I'm going off to this walk for Parkinson's thing. My daughters are going to be coming with me, so that's awesome. Well, Emily, she's already there because she volunteered to set the thing up. And then Julia's going to come with me. We're going to meet her there. And my friend Dan is going to be there. And quite a few people that I've met sort of online. And my doctor, I think, is going to be there. So it'll be fun to meet some people face to face that I've met online, like through like support groups and stuff. But anyway, I thought I would share like my Parkinson's experience and how it's impacted my art, and then I would leave. So that's what I'm going to do this morning, for what it's worth. Let me get a cup of coffee, drink. So So for those of you who don't know, I guess you gathered by now that I have Parkinson's. I was diagnosed with it 9.5 years ago, I'll say. What happened was, it was 2014. I had just finished my second Detective Perez graphic novel, that you can buy on Amazon. Search for Paul Pate, Detective Perez. It's hardboiled detective graphic novel. So anyway, I had finished that. I had this little twitch in my thumb that my wife was like saying, "You should get that checked out." And it didn't seem to be a big deal, but all right, I started to get it checked out. Anyway, but also at that time, I had just finished the graphic novel, and I was like, sort of like, okay, what am I going to work on now? These graphic novels are a lot harder, take a lot longer than I thought they would be, and so I didn't want to do another graphic novel, but I wanted to sort of really kind of pursue my art a bit more seriously at that time. I was like, okay, let me, what do I want to do? What do I want to be about? And my friend Al and I at the time talked about, we came up with this idea for a podcast, on YouTube. You can still find it. It's called the Beige Planet Podcast, and we had like 20 episodes, and it was fun. But we just interviewed like art. We wanted to interview artists, anybody, anything to do with art, whether it was music, photography, art, comics, whatever. So we did that podcast right at that time. But it was interesting because at that time, Al had a job taking care of a guy who had Parkinson's. It was near the end of his life, and Al sort of cared for him at that time. And then right when we started the podcast, I got diagnosed with Parkinson's. And Parkinson's is a weird disease. It impacts everybody. It impacts people differently. So I actually recently heard somebody say that it's, it shouldn't really be called a disease. It's a lot of diseases, because Like I have my left hand shakes quite a bit sometimes. But other people don't have tremors. They have, stiffness, or they have, part of it is like anxiety and depression. There's lots of different things that don't, so it's not just like somebody shaking like Michael J. Fox or Muhammad Ali, but there's lots of different symptoms to it. So anyway, Al was taking care of him, and I got diagnosed with it. I was like, oh, that was kind of weird. But yeah, there's, I wouldn't wish Parkinson's upon anybody, but it it helped change my perspective on life. I like to think I'm a lot better person than I was then, and a lot of it has to do with having Parkinson's. It humbles you. You get your priorities a little bit better in line, I think. And so, anyway, it helped me focus a lot more on art. And incidentally, the medication that I went on uh, didn't help me much. But one thing, it did make me obsessed with art. For a few years there, I was obsessed with, art. I would stay up all night, in fact, just drawing because I couldn't sleep. And yeah, it was weird. So in those few years, I got my 10,000 hours in. Ding, ding, ding. But after a while, I crashed. I mean, I had like a mental, I was not doing well. I got depressed, and yeah, it was not good. But for those few years, it was fun. And I did a lot of like animation, and I met through the podcast, Beige Planet, and then I started my own after that. Through that, I met so many great artists. Al and we contacted this guy named Deacon Burns, who created a movie called Counterclockwise in Foreverland. And Deacon is him and his wife at the time, Kaya. They have a band called Counterclockwise, and he's like a rapper, and she's a musician. And well, he's a musician too. I mean, he's great, very talented. And anyway, they were the voices for this movie called Counterclockwise in Foreverland. And so Al and I interviewed Deacon, and he introduced us to the guy who made the movie. It was Jim Lujan, who's a real close friend of mine, and most of you people that watch me here know Jim. And he's just a real good friend to a lot of people, and an inspiration as well. So I met Jim, and he, of course, introduced me to so many people. So anyway, since then, my art journey has really, has been interesting, and it's been real rich, and I'm grateful for that. So in a weird way, Parkinson's, I wouldn't wish it on anybody. If I could go back and not do it, I would not want to get it, but because, it's not going to get any better from here, But while I can, I'm grateful every single day that my left hand shakes, but my right hand is okay for now. So I can draw, but that won't last forever. And at that point, I'll have to figure out something else. Maybe I'll just draw pictures that are all squiggly. Who knows? But I'm grateful to be here today. And yeah, that's about it. I mean, there's been twists and turns over the last 9.5 years. I'm a lot better shape than I thought I would be. When I first heard about it, I thought, well, in 10 years, I'm going to be, in a wheelchair, or I don't know what, and there for a while, that medication that I was on, I thought I was kind of headed there. But anyway, got kind of straightened out. I've been lucky there. So yeah, I've been real lucky in a lot of ways. And I don't know. I thought about all this, and thought I'd share this, and I'm not like an expert speaker, so in my head it sounded a lot better, I think, than it came out. But that's been my journey for the last few years. I have been working on Detective Perez um, for the last several months, and it does feel like kind of like a I don't know what it's just feels a little bit like the full circle or whatever, because I had finished the second graphic novel when I got diagnosed, and went through some things, and now I'm back to where I kind of was, but I'm also a lot different than I was too. So I hope the graphic novel is. I feel like it's better than the first two. I hope I'm improving. I hope people like it. I had kind of set out to make 3 of them when I started, and so this feels like kind of like if I can finish this one, it feels like a bit of I don't know, an accomplishment or something. I don't know. Art is weird. All you artists know it's kind of a. So I've been working last week. You guys saw, if you saw me last week, I was working on that crowd scene, just a one kind of poster sized drawing of a crowd scene. I haven't done any pages all week. I've been putzing around with that one picture, making some progress on it. It's coming along. But the other day, my wife came home, Erin, and from work, and I was sitting there drawing that thing, and she kind of leaned in close and noticed like the detail that was in it, all the people that I'm drawing. And she's like, "Why would you do that?" Like, that's the question, isn't it? Why would any of us do this? But it's it's what we do. I don't know why. Do you? Tell me. Uh, Anyway, I guess I can't think of anything else. I mean, I feel like there's a lot more to say about it, but um, I've met some great people through. Well, so here's another thing with Parkinson's is, so when I first got it diagnosed, I I I was like, okay, I need to live my life, and so I went to a support group meeting once, and it was just like, okay, this is just kind of depressing. It wasn't really, it didn't, I don't know. So I didn't go again. And I didn't really meet too many people with Parkinson's, a few people. There was a guy I worked with named Jim who kind of, he sort of, uh, we weren't close at work or anything, but he always kind of calls me and checks up on me. There's people like that. So we have lunch every once in a while. He's a real nice guy. And, a little bit of that, but not a whole. I don't think I knew many people with Parkinson's. But just over the last few months, I met my friend Dan, and him and we got a lot in common, and we get along great. And he's a real, like, we became good friends right away. But it was because of Parkinson's that we met. But I think if we didn't have Parkinson's, we'd still, had we met, be good friends. But Dan is just really involved in things and wants to learn everything he can about Parkinson's and wants to help people. And he's just really a cool dude. And so I've been getting involved a little bit lately. And I need to exercise more. Dan's really into running and exercising and just doing everything he can to fight against the progression of Parkinson's. And everybody that has Parkinson's needs to do that, so that that helps me too. But I've been getting involved with it, and it's been great. I mean, I've met some real nice people that have Parkinson's. Are usually really, really nice. So it's a kind of a little bit of a camaraderie thing. So, I feel like a little bit like our artist group. It's like people that are artists. We you just kind of have the, like, what's up, dude? I got it too, yeah. So, um, yeah. Anyway, so that's been great, and I don't know. For me, life is rich when you meet. My wife and I were talking about this yesterday. I don't ever want to be closed off to people. I feel like that's when some people it seems like they're closed off to people, and I know that's not always true. Maybe that some people prefer it that way, and so I have a difficulty understanding that, but that's okay. But for me personally, if I get to the point where I'm closed off to people, I have bad days where I'm grumpy and I don't want to, I've been short with my kids, or you know, um, whatever. But if I get to that point where I'm like that more than I'm not, uh, I don't know. And just I want to be open to people and open to learning and curious about life. And to me, that keeps you young. So, is there anything else that I could talk about, that I could ramble on and on and on about, since I'm not doing any drawing? When I was on that medication, I gained 50 pounds. That was interesting. It was a lot of water, When I went off the medication, I just started sweating. It was crazy. And then I lost 50 pounds. But then I put some back on. So now I think I'm 30. I'm well, 20, whatever. Kind of in the middle of that. So I'm doing okay. Could be better, but everybody could be better. That's another thing with Parkinson's that I've really learned, but not just like intellectually, but it's sort of like been instilled into me. Everybody's got something. Even if you got nothing physically wrong, you're dealing with what you're dealing with, So it's all relative. I mean, if the worst thing that's happened to you is you've had a cold, that's the worst thing that's ever happened to you. And when you have that cold, it sucks, For me, Parkinson's sucks. But I don't have, ALS, or something. So, and we all are going through something. I don't live in a war zone. My kids are being healthy at the moment. So, there's lots of things that can go wrong. And, I mean, it sounds cheesy and I get it, but it really is like, at least some of the times try to be grateful for what you have and what you can do. And that's what I try to do, I think. So, that's my message this morning. Yeah. Other than that, I'm gonna go have my day. I've been looking forward to this day. I get to hang with my daughters, and get to see some people. So we were going to the Meyer Garden. So here where we live in Michigan, there's a store where you can go. It's kind of like Walmart, but it's called Meyer, and it's throughout the Midwest. It's probably goes all through Michigan and Indiana, Ohio, Chicago area, I think. It's called Meyer. Anyway, it's headquartered here in Grand Rapids, where I live, and they have a thing called the Meyer Gardens. They'll have concerts there, but they have gardens and they have butterflies, and it's a really beautiful place. So they're having the walk this morning at the Meyer Gardens. And so that's where we're going to go. And I really look forward to it. It's going to be, I hope it's indoors because it's a miserable day out. It's It's raining and cold, but I look forward to seeing everybody and then coming home and taking a nap. Yeah. Anyway, well, so sorry I didn't have any drawing this morning or hang out or anybody. Nobody's gotten on. Kind of, if anybody watches this, it's going to have to be on the replay. But I hope you do, because hopefully I shared something that touches you and maybe inspires you a little bit, or it makes you feel sorry for me. Send me money. I could use that. I could use some pity. Crack me up. Coffee's kicking in. Nah. Anyway, I hope y'all have a great day. I love you very much. And catch you next time. Next week I'll be here. I'll be drawing like a mug. Hopefully I have that stupid poster done. I can get back to some pages. All right. Have a good one.